Hi traders, Mandy here from High Performance Trading. I want to share with you some insights into how to manage your own self-talk, especially the sabotaging one. As you saw in the previous video that I did for you, self-talk is one of the most powerful influencing factors for your success. It can also be the most powerful disruptor of your success, depending on what kind of self-talk you have. So this is a story of a trader that I worked with yesterday, and you can see his self-talk was sabotaging to the point where he saw a setup, and the setup was based on a value area on the left-hand side, the structure on the left-hand side that we can't see here now. So that's a 5-minute Bitcoin chart from the 14th of February. And so he wanted to go long. That was his game plan when price hits this area, and his target was 25,000. So you can't see that it's now at 21,500. And guess what? He talked himself out of this trade and watched helplessly as it was skyrocketing, and he left thousands of dollars on the table. And he was just feeling so upset and so frustrated that he really wanted to quit. But not to worry, we can work on these things, right? We just need to put a little bit of effort in and find out what's going on here and what old scripts, what old conditioning's playing out. So you can see what happened in this trade was that he actually first went long in this area. So if we put the chart a little together, you can see there was some sort of structure as well on the left-hand side. However, this structure down here, that was based on a few days back. That was the reason why he wanted to go long here. But he thought, it breached the structure, it came right back in, and that would be a really good place to go long. But you can see it just made it to the trend line and then came back down here. So then he saw this one happening, which was actually his A+ setup. That would have just been a B setup. And he started saying to himself, this is not ready yet. It could fail again. I need more confirmation. So he said to himself, just one more candle. So one more candle happened. One more candle, please. There we go. So one more candle happened, and he said, it has moved. What was that? It has moved 100 points only. But he said to himself, oh no, now it's too late. I missed this trade. And he was in immense pain. I'm so stupid. Why didn't I take this entry here? And again, that self-sabotaging talk that he had with himself was actually just preventing him from taking another really good valid entry. So we call that a safe problem. So taking the entry would be a risky problem. Berating himself is a safe problem, which is one of my coaching concepts. Anyone who has been working with me knows that concept. So it's one of my favorite questions to ask. Do you think is that a safe or a risky problem? Anyhow, so what I ask him to do, I ask him to next time. Actually, that was before. We have been working a little while before that. I asked him to, every time he stops himself from getting into a trade, because that's the number one mistake that he made. He's really good at reading charts, but then he doesn't take his trades. Like it's worth nothing then, right? So I asked him to record it into his phone, what his thoughts are, just talk it out loud. And then to email me the most common phrases that he is using. And the most common phrases was really, this is not ready yet, it could fail again here, and I need more confirmation. So when I asked him, what is it that you are trying to avoid by not taking this trade? Because right now we have quite a good setup. It came down to something that he experienced as a child in school, where super bright, again, above IQ above most other students, but socially a little bit awkward, and the students were making fun of him. So he would speak up, he would say something, kids would laugh at him, even the teacher would make remarks and write notes to the parents that he was acting out again. So there was just no support at all. That is what he was avoiding, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense as an adult because we are not little kids anymore. We can defend ourselves. But when we get under stress, then the old scripts are playing out again. Can you see that? And most probably when you have a look at your own trading experience, we'll see how you do that as well. So, yeah, now the question is, what do we do with this? I mean, look at that. This trade just played out really well. And I can tell you, that was actually CPI day as well. It did go up to 25,000. So his analysis again spot on, doing really well, but didn't take the trade and was just watching in pain and helplessness that the trade has just gone away from him. So what we have to do is we have to question our self-talk. So first you have to become aware. When you do similar mistakes, it doesn't matter what that looks like. If you don't take the trades, if you let losses run, if you cut profits shorts, it doesn't matter, right? It's all the same. Record your thoughts into your phone and look at what is the most common phrase you're saying to yourself and then question it. So he said, this is not ready yet. And I said, okay, so how would you have known it is ready? Where does the thought this is not ready yet coming from anyway? Was it that the price wasn't ready or was it that you weren't ready? And so what happened was because he took this trade and it hadn't played out the way he wanted it to, right? So continuing to the upside, he was doubting himself with this trade. Did I get that right? Well, we looked at it together and it's like, why was this one not ready, but this one was? Well, this one went into his value area. This one was a B setup. This one was an A plus setup. Okay, so now we know that was more ready than this one. And then it could fail again here. And then continue that thought. Yeah, what would happen if it would fail? Now, I know that this trader, he's really good at cutting his losses. So I'm not concerned about it at all. I saw some quote on Twitter and, oh my God. So it said, nothing can happen to you. You don't need to be afraid of taking a loss. And I'm like, yeah, you do, because that is so non-specific. If your loss is a 50% drawdown of your account, like, be afraid. Like, you need to be afraid because you're on your way to ruin. If your loss is a 1% loss, though, of course, then you don't need to be afraid. Then you need to be proud of yourself because you do what the 99% of traders don't want to do, right? So I know this trader, really good at taking his losses, so no concerns about here. And I said to him, how much would you have lost if you had taken this trade according to your money and risk management up here instead of down here? He said, well, I would have just put on a smaller position than I would have done here, and I would still have had my 1% risk management, so $150. Fancy that, right? So it could fail again here. Is that really a problem? And he said, no, actually it's not. And I need more confirmation. Like, what specific confirmation do you need? What do you need so that you know you can take a risk in this trade? And again, it was nothing. It was just him trying to control and keeping himself from being exposed and keeping himself safe. Because what we also found out that anytime he feels a little bit vulnerable, he feels that he's losing control of his environment, he starts really taking control and he starts going into hiding. He doesn't like confrontation either. So very interesting. We can see that the patterns that he has in his trading are very similar to the patterns that he has in his day-to-day life. And that makes it easy then, because most of the time it's so much easier to look at our patterns in our day-to-day life and, realizing what they are, because most of them are unconscious and automatic, and then look at how do we do that actually in trading. So you can see it's actually possible to change your self-talk, to change it from a sabotaging to a supportive adventure, I would like to say. As you know, I'm super big on self-talk, and I was just doing a video on how our self-talk is actually one of the contributors and the easiest one to access, because our language, our words are always with us. They help us with building our self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is a summary term for everything that traders want: confidence, competence, grit, resilience, patience. All of these come under the term of self-efficacy. If you haven't seen, watch my video that I just did beforehand. And when we have self-efficacy, that then translates into improved performance and profitability. You can see that, right? So now my trader, of course, has to go and practice that, because just because we identified it doesn't mean that he can already do it. It needs to be practiced. So, and I know he will practice. He's an absolute superstar. I hope this is useful for you guys to start unraveling your own self-talk and finding out what the self-sabotaging patterns are, putting them on the table in front of you, identifying them, and then transforming them. So yeah, I wish you a happy 2023, and hope you're applying what you're learning.